After being woken by a sound, I opened my eyes with a measure of reluctance. Turning my head to the left, I find the rain outside sweeps against the windows loudly. Spray after wind-blown spray lashes against the glass, as if trying its hardest to make up for the summer's previous heat. I sit up in the futon, holding the back of my neck to try and subdue the pain from my awkward sleeping position. By all accounts, I should be lamenting the turn in the weather, given that this is our last day here. The events of yesterday refuse to stop flooding my mind, though. The feeling of holding Lily's crying body in my arms, the rush of lust and hormones that flowed through us as we spent the night together. It seems almost futile to try and rationalize everything that happened. In an attempt to distract myself, I groan and lean over to retrieve my bag without standing. Pulling out one bottle after another, I take the daily regimen's worth of pills from their containers and swallow them without further ado. It took a surprisingly short amount of time to get used to swallowing pills without water. That said, I suppose the same thing goes for getting used to living in a school for disabled students. Remembering Yamaku, I've become all the more grateful for having the chance to get away, even if it's just for the shortest of times. I appreciate the chance to spend time alone with Lily and Hanako, away from the bustle of school life, even considering the latest complications. I never thought I'd say it, but the idea of living away from the city in a nice, tranquil area is an inviting one. It's a thought that barely a year ago would have seemed simply ludicrous. A flash of pink, no doubt Hanako's gown, peeks from around the corner. Realizing I must look a sight since I've only just woke up, I slap the remaining pills into my mouth and run a hand through my hair. Good morning, Hisao. I reply to her, completely forgetting that I'm in the middle of swallowing a particularly large pill. Coughing and spluttering, I violently gag on it. Hisao! After sputtering loudly and tapping my chest a couple of times to force it down, I managed to recover. I'm fine. Sorry. Forgot I was swallowing. Sorry, I didn't mean to. I hold my hand up, gesturing for Hanako to stop. I gagged. It's my fault. Morning, Hanako. She pauses a moment before bowing in reply. Walking, no, staggering in behind Hanako is the familiar figure of Lily, also dressed in her pajamas. With her eyes full of sleep and her hair bedraggled, she's a sight to behold. Hi, Lily. Good morning, Hisao. For a moment, a silence hangs in the air as neither of us knows what to do. Given what happened last night, we both have more than enough reason to be finding the situation awkward. Just how are we meant to react to meeting each other after something like that? The best course of action would probably be to talk to Lily alone, to set things in order. I'll start making breakfast, I say. Lily evidently catches on to my train of thought. I'll help. Hanako, could you set the table? She nods, her head disappearing into a cupboard as she quickly goes about her assigned task. I rub a little more sleep out of my eyes as I wander over to the fridge and take out some milk, and Lily grabs various brightly colored boxes from some of the lower cupboards to my side. While we make the rather bland-looking meal, I whisper somewhat more quietly than usual. Knowing Lily's hearing, she won't have any trouble catching what I say. Are you okay, Lily? After last night? She gives a delicate nod, her expression weak. Though her tiredness surely plays a part, she seems genuinely unsure about what's happened between us and how to move ahead. I Can't say I blame her, considering my feelings are the same. I'm sorry, Hisao. I wasn't thinking straight yesterday. I never stopped to consider you or Hanako, and I even went as far as... She's winding herself up. With her hands and voice both tightening, I give her a gentle bump to try and lighten up the situation. You don't have to apologize, I say. I said I liked you as well, after all. But As her composure begins to falter, it becomes obvious there's no alternative. Turning to Lilly, I gently embrace her tall frame. She offers no resistance at all, thankfully pulling back just from the edge of her emotions. Despite our reassuring embrace lasting only a matter of seconds, I notice Hanako wordlessly watching. The plate in her hand hovers inches above the table, her action halted midway by the sight. The clatter of utensils against plates is the only sound to be heard as we silently eat. Whereas before only two of us may have been unsure of ourselves, the entire situation has changed. After weeks of blissful friendship, whiling away the days with shared meals and chatter with little meaning, the relationship of Lilly and me, no, that of all of us, has irreversibly changed. I can't take this. Lilly? She solemnly nods, gently laying her spoon onto the plate in front of her. Neither of us knows exactly how we regard each other, let alone how Hanako would view us. This might seem abrupt, but I've confessed to Hisao, Lilly says. For a moment, Hanako looks almost confused, precisely the reaction I thought she would have. She eventually nods, her spoon still in her mouth as she does so. Did you accept? I did, I say. She gives a smile so large and so earnest I find myself blushing. I think it's the brightest I've ever seen her expression look. That I'm happy. I'm really, really happy. I'm sorry for not telling you anything about it before, Lilly says. Things have been... Hanako shakes her head from side to side emphatically, apparently forgetting in her rush that Lilly couldn't possibly notice. She begins fiddling with her fingers, looking a little more nervous than she did before. To be honest, I began to think you might like each other a while ago, she says. At first, I didn't really know what to think about it, but I decided in the end that if my friends are happy, then I'm happy. I was really glad to have another friend when we met Hisao, so you finding love through him is even better, right? A feeling of relief at her acceptance of our relationship falls over me like a wave. The same happens to Lilly, judging by her expression. Thank you, Hanako. I really appreciate you being so understanding. Lily's voice still sounds slightly apologetic, or at least unsure. This doesn't escape Hanako, who appears lost in thought for a few moments before turning to me. Hisao, do you mind if Lilly and I go outside for a bit? No. Feel free. Hanako? Lilly asks. Hanako gets up from her seat, taking Lily's hand and almost dragging her from the table in her excitement. Considering Lily's typically slow and steady pace, Hanako's haste makes her footing awkward, and she almost loses her balance a couple of times. It's a pretty amusing sight, leaving me wordless as I watch them disappear out the door. It's only now that I realize the rain stopped, being replaced by a sky seemingly all the more vivid and bright to make up for the morning's drab gray expanse. For Hanako, this must be a pretty big revelation. Lily and I are really the only people she associates with, almost as if we were parents in her own stead. I suppose that might well be the best way to describe the relationship we share. A father, mother, and daughter, all playing around in our little make-believe family as if it could last forever. It might be a strange dynamic and one that certainly can't last for long, but maybe just for this one small moment, it's okay. As I stand from the table and go to join Lily and Hanako in the fields outside, I nod to myself in affirmation. This one small moment of happiness, no matter how brief, will last with me, with all of us, forever. Submerged deep in the hot water, I let a drawn-out sigh escape my lips. The feeling of seemingly every muscle in my body relaxing is euphoric. I have no idea how long it's been since I had a genuine hot bath, but right now I can hardly be bothered trying to remember. Maybe I'm giving the simple fact that for once I get to have a real bath more credit than it's due. The chance to just calm down, allow myself to unwind, and have some time to myself is a welcome one. Hanako, Lily, and I wandered about outside, exploring the extent of the surprisingly large tract of land surrounding the house. Then we spent the majority of the afternoon resting, watching television, reading, and playing cards. It may not have been the most exciting finale to the trip, but such tranquil peacefulness is something to savor. Even after we return to the school tomorrow, I think I'll remember this little house in Hokkaido for a long time. It's a pity we only have a couple more hours to spend here before going to get the train back. All I can do is yawn contentedly while I watch the steam slowly rising from the clear water's placid surface, my eyes eventually locking onto the ceiling. Our exams are imminent. I barely studied at all for them. On top of that, I don't even know what I'll do after graduation. Passing exams is all well and good, but to what end? And now, of all times, I'm getting into a relationship. What the hell am I doing? I ask myself. I guess I shouldn't think like that. What's done is done, and maybe this could be viewed as just another aspect of my new life that I'm working on. I enjoy being with Lily, and there's more to life than school and a career after all. As I busily attempt to rationalize all that's happened, I hear a series of raps on the door. I pick myself up and sit upright, trying to figure out the source. 3, no more and no less. Light, yet assertive in their tapping, and timed regularly enough to tune a metronome. I'd be extremely surprised if it wasn't Lily. May I come in? Yeah, it's Lily. I'm still in the bath. I'll be out in a sec. I know, she says. The voice coming from the other side of the door freezes me. After a second's thought, I rest on the side of the bath and let my arms dangle over the side. Despite trying my best to play it off, I can't help letting my mind wander. Sure, I stammer. Come in. With that, she opens the door, slowly walking into the room and closing it behind her. She looks oddly calm, countering my racing heart. Hey, Lily? Do you mind if I take a bath with you? I don't mind. Go ahead. So we have the morning after, and instead of the walk of shame, as it's called, we have more of the breakfast of shame, as the awkwardness sets in, and neither Hisao or Lily know how to react to it, and know how to react to it with Hanako either. Finally, they break down and they tell her during the breakfast. They reveal their confessions to each other, not the night's events, but their confessions to each other. And she has surprises them with quite a happy and joyous reaction to it. And she even shows the maturity of Lily still seeming uncertain. She drags Lily outside to talk to her about it and to apparently set her mind straight and make her feel better about things. Hisao stays for a while thinking about the relationship and getting into that whole father, mother, and daughter dynamic that they seem to have. Um, I said, bringing up a dynamic that led to a very bad place in the whole Hanako path. And as I said, I haven't played it. It's been a long time. It's been 3 months, I guess, since I've played through Lily's route here. So I'm not sure where it's going to take us down this path. We'll have to see if the whole fact of them almost treating Hanako as a child has quite the same effect with her as it did whenever Hisao was treating her as a precious thing to be protected in her own path. And then we have Lily coming in to ask if she can take a bath with Hisao while he's chilling out in the bathroom space. Um, Strangely enough, or perhaps not so strangely enough, Lily has the most sex scenes in the path, tied with Emmy. Emmy, of course, with her active, happy go lucky, try everything once nature, you would expect it. And I guess Lily fits the stereotype of the shy, reserved, quiet, well mannered, and totally wrapped up tightly person who's got the dirty librarian type thing to her, the sexy librarian type, where it's like all prim and proper in the daytime and a little sex kitten at night. But it also brings up the question of what is Hanako doing during this? During the nighttime at least, she could have been asleep, but here we are in the middle of the day, and it's not raining anymore, and Hanako's got to be somewhere. I can't see her just wandering the grounds. Maybe in that big heavy bag that Hisao was talking about. What all was Lily bringing on this trip? Maybe she has a bottle of knockout drops and pulling the old, hey, Hanako, can you sniff this rag for a second and tell me if it smells like chloroform? So next time we will have the bath scene.